our practice.
All right.
Welcome to Just Breathe. And that's really it, right? I mean, some days, some weeks, some seasons of our lives, there's just about hanging on and doing what we can. And that's a little bit how I'm feeling today, right? So in that sense, can you give yourself perhaps permission that it's enough just to breathe in any fashion, in any form? And as your capacity to just breathe expands, can you then meet yourself with more awareness of the breathing? So we'll begin with just a few rounds of an easy breath. With that easy breath, bring your awareness to the tip of your nose. Notice how the breath enters. Feel into the right nostril. Feel into the left nostril. It's okay if one is more open than the other. That's actually quite normal. Simply don't notice it most of the time because we're doing other things. Now for just a few rounds, let's open the mouth and breathe in and out through the mouth. Close the mouth and return to nose breathing and notice. Perhaps you could feel more. Perhaps you notice the temperature. Perhaps there's a change even in pace or volume. Now, behind the nose and above the cheeks are your sinuses. And that's the cavity in which this breath comes in the nose and then swirls around to both moisturize the air and warm it up before it goes into the lungs. So now redirect your attention into the nasal cavity. Maybe you can feel that breath hit the back of your throat or even up into the nasal cavity. I like to visualize it swirling. Can't say that I feel it swirling, but you might. You might feel it kind of bounce around inside your nasal passage, your nasal cavity. Now shift your attention a little lower. See if you can feel it in your throat, right? As we join the air and our throat passage, both for food and oxygen. So you can feel the back of your throat or even at the top of your neck. This one's a hard one for me. Truth be told, it's more imagining, it's more visualizing than it is tactile sensation. One way that we can intensify that tactile sensation is to close the throat bandha, that ujjayi breath. So if you want a little more sensation or a little deeper, stronger feeling, go ahead and close the throat for the ujjayi, particularly on the exhale, but both is actually acceptable as well. Now the temptation here, if you've chosen ujjayi, is to let all of your attention go to the muscles of contraction, the muscles of effort. And that's a safe place to begin. But as you find that muscular effort, see if you can then shift your attention to the passing of air over those muscle tissues. The receiving, the passive effort of this breath. Check it on the jaw, the muscles of the front of the neck and throat. Particularly on the inhale, let them soften. You might start to follow the whole chain from the nose to the sinuses to the throat. From the inhale, followed by the exhale, throat, sinuses, nostrils. Same three-part concept. So let's take it down to the Dirga breath. Belly, ribs, and chest. In and out through the nose. You can redirect that attention down to filling the belly. Feel from the inside how the muscles soften and the belly opens. Now, obviously, the lungs do not travel this deep into the body, but it's the reorientation of the inner organs that causes that belly to puff out. Perhaps you can feel that shift, the diaphragm pressing down to distend the organs into the lower belly. Perhaps visualizing is enough. Bring it up a little higher with your attention into the thoracic region, the ribs. Now you might be feeling both the inhale and the exhale contraction of the muscles. Once you've got the sensation of the muscles as the active ingredient here, and you come to the passive component, the feeling of the breath in the lungs, deepening into those lower lobes. You might feel the ribs flare a bit. The belly might reduce its distension. That's okay. That's part of the shift. Coming up once again to the upper chest, the higher lobes. Again, that tactile experience of the muscles and the bones moving. And then from there back to the passive flow of the oxygen entering into your lungs. Even as you enter and focus on the upper cavity, know that we're still working to bring that breath down into the lower lobes so we can have a high exchange rate into the bloodstream. At this point, all this emphasis on feeling the breath, you might actually be feeling a little heady, a little dizzy, a little oxygenated. Okay, just notice if you need to slow down the breath, you need to shift your attention and keep yourself in that safe, calm, abiding space. And in our final reiteration here, coming back to the tip of your nose. In each breath, each progressive breath, go deeper into these 6 components. Just the nostrils, then the nostrils and the sinus cavity. In the back of the throat, sinus, and the nose, nasal passages. And to the top of the lungs. Mid-torso. To the full belly. Does your mind get stuck at any place? Does the breath get stuck at any place? Can you smooth the edges or focus on that opening of where the breath might get stuck? Choose which technique is going to best meet you here in this practice. Back off this deep attention and trust the breath. Final breath expression will be a sounding breath, a humming or a Bhumari bumblebee breath. Kind of shift now from the feeling, the sensation of that breath moving to the vibrations, to the sound of the breathing. So when you're ready, 3 rounds of sighing breath or Bhumari bumblebee breath. Easy breath.
Finally, combining the sound and this feeling of the breath will end with a round of Om, 3 parts Ah, O, and then silence as we close. When you're ready, take your breath in. Close our just breathe practice and begin again this day. Namaste.